Just jumping in to announce that my comic Cryptid Lake is finally out. It's available in both Tapas and Webtoon. On Tapas, pages update on Monday and Wednesdays, and on Webtoon they update on Wednesdays every 2 weeks. Thank you so much for your support, and now onto the video. Hello everyone! Today I'll be taking 5 fan favorite Genshin Impact characters and drawing them in my art style. If you follow my work, you might have noticed that I actually have 2 art styles. A very cute anime art style reserved for serious projects, like my webcomic Cryptid Lake or my magical girl OCs, and my more cartoony Muppet-like art style reserved for when I want to have fun. Since Genshin Impact is an anime game, I thought the results would be much more interesting if I were to draw them in my Muppety style. Now you might be asking yourself, Genshin has so many cool characters. How did you choose just 5 to draw? And to that, dear viewer, I say it was really hard. I asked you in a community post about your favorite characters so that I could narrow it down a little, but it was still pretty hard to choose. I definitely had to leave a few of my personal favorites behind, and so if you guys want a part 2, I'd be more than happy to do it. Let's begin with Venti, our silly Anemo Archon. Venti, also known as Barbados, is a playful, carefree and mischievous bard. Unlike the other Archons of Tevat, Venti rules his region, Mondstadt, with a more hands-off approach, living mostly as a bard, writing poetry and singing songs, while leaving Mondstadt to live freely. After all, Mondstadt is the region of the winds and freedom. Venti, despite being a little silly and playful, still holds deep wisdom, most likely due to his extensive life experience. From what I understand, he's one of the oldest Archons that are still active. He also really loves wine, especially Mondstadt wine. I find it really funny that this pipsqueak can hold his liquor so well, and so I really wanted to draw him with his favorite drink. Going in, I knew that I would have to simplify the designs a little for 2 reasons. 1, so that I would be able to draw them and still have fun. And 2, because my cartoon style is so simple that if I were to add all the little details, the drawing would look really crowded. Especially since the proportions I use are very squished. Genshin Impact designs are known for being pretty but very complex. That certainly is true, but I think that it has gotten much more severe as time goes by, in part because it's a character gacha game and they probably want to make cooler and cooler characters so people keep playing the gacha. In the beginning though, I think this was not as noticeable. The characters still have complex designs, just not as complex, so I barely changed Venti's design. I also really like Venti just in general, so I didn't mind taking more time to draw him. Still, I did find myself forgetting a few details. I even almost forgot his cape, but I ended up adding it. But here, a Venti for your troubles. Next up, we have the cool and collected Xiao. Like I mentioned before, I haven't gotten very far playing Genshin, in part because I realized that open world games are just not my thing. I found myself having the same feelings when playing Breath of the Wild, so after that I just stopped playing open world games. I feel like I probably need structure to have fun. I get a bit overwhelmed with the infinite exploring possibilities an open world game brings. Still, I was very intrigued by Xiao. He looked really cool and mysterious, and the cutscenes I saw him in left me with even more questions about him. To make a long story short, Xiao is an anime character that is one of the last surviving ancient warriors tasked with dealing with evil spirits in Liyue. As you can imagine, he has a pretty tragic backstory, which can explain his mysterious and stoic demeanor. He's also really close and loyal to the Geo Archon, aka Zhongli, and most of all, he has an incredible sense of loyalty and duty towards Liyue, which I find very noble. I'm going to be honest and say that I actually started by drawing Xiao. His design is really cool, and so I was really excited to draw him. The design looks complex, but I thought, how bad can it be? I was in for a rude awakening. Xiao's design is so complex. Xiao, why do you need so many different patterns, flowing fabrics, decorations, and tattoos? Xiao, please, you don't need these many details. Why are you so asymmetrical? Yeah, drawing him was not fun, to say the least. I felt very overwhelmed with the amount of detail I had to either adapt or omit altogether, and since he was the first one I drew, I was still sort of figuring out how I wanted to adapt the designs, and really how much design deviation could I get away with without making people disappointed. I truly envy Genshin Impact fan artists that are able to draw these characters flawlessly countless times. I envy you so much, seriously. I still think I was able to do him some justice though. And now buckle up for our fiery and flashy queen of the summer festival, Yoimiya. Yoimiya is an upbeat and optimistic girl that strives to make others happy with her art being the crafting of fireworks. She has a very fiery passion and obsession with pyrotechnics. She's also known for her unwavering childlike innocence and wonder. That, alongside her caring personality, makes her an influential member of the community. She is from Inazuma, the Japan-inspired region, and that is very evident in her design. As you can assume, she is a pyro character as well as a bow wielder, which I think is absolutely brilliant, because think about it, the flaming arrows are like fireworks that she throws at her enemies. Amazing. I really like Yoimiya and her funky design. She looks super nice. I love her funky shaped hair, and for once I think the overly decorative design is warranted. She is the summer festival queen after all. Her design should be super festive and fun. I mean, I still took away some details, but still. I had a bit of trouble with her pose though. I was struggling to get some good references of poses that were fun and open. I also wanted to have her holding sparklers like the ones she has in her idol animation, also to hammer down the firework aspect to her character. Overall, she was pretty fun and I'm super happy with the result. And now make way for the graceful divine priestess Kokomi. She, like Yoimiya, is from Inazuma and she's a Hydro character. Kokomi is known for her calm and sweet demeanor. She's in a position of great power and responsibility, and she makes the best of it by trying to do the best for everyone. The well-being of her people is always at the forefront of her mind, so much so that she usually overworks herself so as to ensure the happiness of her peers. She's knowledgeable in domestic affairs and she's very diplomatic. Of course, her position in society makes it so that she needs to have these characteristics. From my understanding, Kokomi is also a strategist with military knowledge, which really took me by surprise. The priestess aspect? Sure, I can see that in her design, but military expert? Well, I suppose it's only natural in her position, but still. Her design also gives her a certain mysterious vibe. She's really pretty, and all the flowing fabrics and ribbons almost make her look like a goddess. Add that to the way she's drawn in splash art and other types of official art, and you get this idea that there's more to her than you're originally told. I wanted to show that in my version of her design, so I tried to look for some graceful and mysterious looking poses. So forgive me, but this pose where she looks back was just too perfect. And in a way I didn't exactly expect, it made my job of simplifying her design much simpler. I really only needed to figure out how her sleeves and ribbons worked. And I have to say, looking closely at all the little details, I was pretty impressed. Her theming is on point. I love how her dress ends and is styled like the tail of a fish. I love how her ribbons and hair shape also look like a tail of a fish. And speaking of hair, I love her bow hairstyle, it's so cute! Finally, I want to talk about how I designed Kokomi's face. I really got this soft vibe from her, so I softened all of her features, I gave her a rounder face, a soft warm smile, a heart-shaped nose, and calm downturned eyes. She has a caring look even though she's clearly tired. And finally, it's time for our favorite mortuary, Hutao. She's a pyro character from Liyue, and she was a late addition to the roster. I planned at first to draw her, but then the drawings took longer than I was expecting, so I was like, okay, let's maybe save her for next time. But then I was talking about this video with my boyfriend, and he said that the character that he associates the most with Genshin is Hutao, so at that point I knew I had to draw her, and I'm really glad I did because she turned out to be one of my favorite drawings in this set. Hutao is the director of a funerary parlor, and you'd think that that would make her a very somber person? Well, nope. Far from it. Despite deeply caring for those she serves and always striving to make a good job, Hutao is also really eccentric. Known for her mischievous and quirky personality as well as her love for pranks. The best way I can put it is Hutao is Halloween incarnate. Her aesthetic is super fun. She's always shown with these little ghost guys and she's often posed in a very Halloween fashion. But there's more to her than this quirkiness and eccentricity. She's also deeply philosophical. I suppose one would get that way if they were raised with death all around them. She views death as a necessary part of life, a natural thing that should be respected and celebrated. Death is one of those topics that is naturally very scary, and it's my belief that we spend our lives in part trying to come to terms with our own mortality and what comes after. It is naturally a sad thing to think about, so I can't help but feel inspired when I see philosophies that don't see death as a negative, but as a natural part of life. Sorry, I think I got carried away. All this to say, I really appreciate Hutao as a character. She was really fun to draw too. Her design is not super complex, probably the simplest one out of today's batch. So she didn't give me any trouble at all, and capturing her personality and attitude was really fun. I don't usually draw characters with her personality type, so drawing her was a much needed breath of fresh air. So with that, tell me which drawing you like the most and feel free to comment your favorite Genshin Impact characters that you'd love to have me draw. I'd love to make a part 2. Also, I've been toying with the idea of doing the same thing with Zenless Zone Zero characters, so please also comment your favorite ZZZ characters. And with that, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you liked the video. If you wanna see more stuff from me, I'm also on Instagram and Twitter at momopurin_chan, on Kara at momopurin, and on Blue Sky at momopurin-chan. Thank you so much, and until next time, bye!